Yes, today we're going to talk about something um interesting. You know, wait, let me see here. If you guys are keeping in, I mean, if you guys are, let's say, following, if you guys are following what's happening in the world today, you would understand that Islam has become the center of the conversation. And many people, to be honest, I'm one of those people. I don't know anything about Islam as except for the things that I hear online. But if you ask me anything about Islam, I wouldn't say anything. I don't know nothing about Islam. I don't know nothing about Christianity. I just know that these religions exist, but I don't know what they believe in and what they don't believe in. I also know about the existence of Buddhism, Hinduism, Catholic, but I don't know what they preach. I don't know what these religions, I would say, teach, right? So I have no idea what these religions teach. So I decided to do my own research and try to actually figure it out as to what is the difference between these religions and why do people often fight over religion, which is something that doesn't make sense, right? Why do people like often fight over religion? So first thing that we're going to do is to learn about Islam. I think because, like I said, it is the center of today's conversation when we talk about religion. So now here I'm going to try to watch a video and listen to what that the the speaker tries to teach us about Islam. So this is my first time actually diving into Islam and trying to understand what is Islam, what they believe in, what they teach their people or the people of the world who believe in them. So we're just gonna start here. So, like I said, right? I'm going to start with Islam because Islam now today it has become the center of all religions when it comes to discussions to do with religions. So let's learn about Islam, right? First, let's learn about Islam. After Islam, we can learn about Christianity and then Buddhism, maybe in the future Hinduism or even Catholic, and try to understand why is it that every single time when people fight like religion is somewhere like it's part of the reason, in as much as many people do not want to acknowledge that the fight in Gaza or the genocide in Gaza happening today, it is as a result of religion, because the Zionists believe in what they believe. They believe that land was given to them 3,000 years ago. And it's religion at the end of the day. But the question is, how real are these things? Like, how real is religion? How true is religion? I don't know. I am not an expert when it comes to religion. I'm not a theologist. I'm just here to learn about Islam and try to understand like how this religion works. Christianity also, to be honest, I don't know. In as much as maybe some people may say that you know Christianity, many people know Christianity. I don't know nothing about Christianity. There is no religion in this world that I can argue with anyone about because I do not know nothing about religion. I know about their existence, but I don't know what they preach. So let's start with I want to start with Islam. Like, what is Islam about, and why many people are for Islam or are against Islam?
Today we're looking at the religion of Islam. Like all of my religion overview videos,
Islam.
this is a superficial one intended for people who don't know what Muslims believe or the practices and
Wait.
traditions they
So Islam is a Muslim religion. So I think so.
participate in. To give you an idea how popular this religion is, Islam is currently the second largest world religion. nearly 25% of the world population, second only to the 31% that includes all branches of Christianity, including Catholicism. This 25% is spread out over the world. It may surprise you, the largest Muslim population resides in Indonesia, with over
Ah,
229 million Muslims living there. This is
wow.
followed by Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nigeria. There are countries with a larger percentage of
This is quite interesting, right? Look at here. They say
Indonesia,
largest
with over
population.
229 million Muslims living there.
Hmm.
This is followed by Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Nigeria.
So, according to this video, I suppose when they make these videos, they have the stats, they have evidence. So, apparently, Islam is popular in four of these countries. Number one, Indonesia. Second, Pakistan. Third, Bangladesh. And lastly, Nigeria. Quite interesting, right? Very interesting. Very interesting. One thing I always wonder about religion is like, if let's say it's religion, right? I'm not talking about Islam. I'm just saying religion, like in general. It's always the countries where people practice religion the most that are chaotic. Honestly, I'm just like stating facts. Here, the first country, Indonesia. I don't know much about Indonesia, so I cannot say that it's a chaotic country. Pakistan, it is chaotic. Bangladesh, chaotic. Nigeria, and all the problems in Nigeria, to be honest, they have to do with people who are Islam, which for me doesn't make sense that these people they believe in Islam, but then why are they causing trouble in Nigeria? Because if you guys you follow what's happening in the world, you will know that there have been a lot of terrorists, like these Islamic terrorists in Nigeria killing Christians. For me, it's like it doesn't make sense. Like this is one thing I don't understand about religion is like people they claim to be holy, they claim to be pure, but they do like vile things. It's a lot, but anyways, we will learn. Maybe these people they are imposters of Islam. They are not really Islam, because we do have imposters. It's the same thing with Christianity. We do have fake pastors, people who like impose as like pastors, the holy pastors, but they're just pastors to scam people. It could be the same thing with Islam. It could be the same thing with, also we do have the Buddhists, the Buddhists that wear the orange clothes, who have been like founded to be committing all sorts of corruption. So maybe the religion is real, but the issue it is with the people who impose as the sender or the preachers of this religion. Maybe because it happens, right? It happens. But now let's put people out of these religions and just focus on what the religion itself like teach.
Yeah.
So we're going to
There
focus
are
on what
countries
these
with a larger
religions teach.
percentage of Muslims, like Iran, where 99.4% of the population is Muslim, but those countries are smaller in overall population. Now, time for a preface before we get too far. Like other religions, there are many types of Islam, which have drastically different interpretations of the religion.
Okay.
I'll dive into how these schisms happen later, but just know that some branches of Islam may not agree with everything we're covering here. Like Christianity,
Very
its
good
web
question,
of
right? A question. I'll be waiting for an answer, right? I have this question. Would you consider the Islamic groups in Nigeria are taking Christians real Islam or imposters? Like I am very curious. Would you consider them like the real Islam, Islamic people, or would you consider them imposed, like the imposters, those Nigerians, Islamic Nigerians killing Christians? I'm very curious. Like, are they really behaving in accordance with their religion, or are they not behaving in accordance with their religion? Because I don't know, like I said, I don't know nothing about Islam. And remember, many of people interpret religion based on the behavior of the people who practice the religion, right? That's how we see any religion, or that's how we judge any religion, if you do judge a religion. So for me, for example, I don't know, would you consider those Nigerians who, the Islamic groups in Nigeria, would you consider them like Islam messengers, or would you consider them imposters? So I think that's where we will know who are the real messengers and who are the imposters. Because at this moment, personally, so like I said, since I don't know what the religion teaches, so I wouldn't know what these religions are about. But let's hear, maybe here they will teach us what is Islam.
Denominations,
I don't know nothing about
Islam
Islam.
too has many differences across its spectrum. To start the origin story of Islam, we're going to look at the big three Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In an oversimplified timeline, we have the events of the Old Testament. All three of these religions, for the most part, believe in these events. They are the Old Testament in the Bible. The first 5 books are considered the written Torah for Judaism, and Muslims believe that these events were, again, for the most part, true. But these events have been altered or corrupted through changes in their retelling over time.
Okay. So I would agree with this person, because considering how the situation is today, most of these maybe most of these preachings about Islam, they are quite ambiguous or contradictory. Like I said, we have the Nigerian Islams. They're killing Christians. Is that what the Islam teaches them? And is that what the kind of the message that Islam wants to send to them? I don't know. I'm just asking question. I am curious. And then we don't. I don't know. I don't know.
We then have the New Testament, which Christians believe, and again, Muslims for the most part agree with. Judaism believes the Messiah has not yet come, so Jesus is essentially a false prophet, while Muslims believe Jesus was a prophet and miracle worker, just not the last prophet.
Wait, what? Wait, let's start here. Okay, so this is the lesson, right? Okay, so this is the lesson about Islam. What is Islam? Okay.
Its spectrum. To start the origin story of
The
Islam,
origin.
we're
We're
going
going
to look at
to
the
start with
big
the origin.
three Abrahamic religions.
Okay, 3 Abrahamic religions. There's Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Okay.
Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In an oversimplified timeline, we have the events of the Old Testament. All three of these religions, for the most part, believe in these events. They are the Old Testament in the Bible. The first 5 books are considered the written Torah for Judaism, and Muslims believe that these events were, again, for the most part, true.
Okay.
But these events have been altered or corrupted through changes in their retelling over time. We then have the New Testament, which Christians believe, and again, Muslims for the most part agree with.
Hello.
Judaism believes the Messiah has not yet come. So Jesus.
Judaism believes the Messiah has not yet come. Okay.
Is essentially a false prophet, while Muslims believe Jesus was a prophet and miracle worker, just not the last prophet. Muslims then have the Quran, which Muslims believe was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad to rectify what they believe is a corruption of the Bible. So as you can see, these three religions do have a significant overlap, but these differences are indeed major differences. Let's go back in time. It's the late 500s in Mecca, what is now Saudi Arabia. Muhammad is born into a poor family. His father passed away before he was born, and he was raised by his mother and then his grandfather. He grew up to become a merchant.
Okay, do you know why? Do you know why sometimes, like, I don't know, okay, one of the main reason I don't follow religion, to be quite honest, is because every single time someone try to tell us about religion, right? To me, it feels as if this person is like depicting a story of someone who lived in the past. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like history in a way. But I know like this history, it is told in a perspective of religion. But for me, every single time, like you hear what this guy is saying right now, like he's telling us about Muhammad, like he was just an ordinary guy. So for me, it feels like it's a human being just like me and everyone. So my question like has always been like, what makes these people special? But hey, I don't know. Let's hear, maybe. I don't know. Here in Brazil. Oh, I just saw the Brazilian football team. They announced the international football players for the World Cup, and Neymar is included. I'm sure the Brazilians are very happy, but it's gonna be a good watch. It's gonna be a good watch if it does happen, because we don't know if this World Cup is going to happen at this point. Okay, so now let's try to learn about okay, the beginning. Remember, I'm here to learn
Let's
just
go
like
back in
you.
time. It's the late
I'm here
500s
to
in
learn
Mecca,
also.
what is now Saudi Arabia. Muhammad is born into a poor family. His
Okay.
father passed away before he was born, and he was raised by his mother and then his grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up to become a merchant, and at this time, the people there had turned away from the worship of God, the name for which is Allah in Arabic, literally translating as the God. And instead, they worshipped idols and a variety of other gods. He was around the age of 40 when Muhammad started to receive revelations from God through the angel Gabriel. He began to share these revelations, though they challenged the status quo.
Okay. Angels, right? Angels. So I'm curious here, like how does this angel come? Like comes as I don't know, like in a human flesh or through dreams or because when you say an angel is a little bit too broad. It's a little bit too broad. Let me tell you, for example, when it comes to African religion, right? When it comes to let's say the sangomas, right? The sangomas, their revelations, they come. It could be through their dreams. It just happened. It just happened. Like when people have a calling, they have a calling. It happens. It happens. So it is something that for me, I can believe in it because I lived in it. You know. Only if you believe in magic, all this stuff is believable. But even if you believe in magic, but uh, believe in magic, I don't know. I think I've watched a lot of movies in my life about magic, and the plot twist turned to be like some sort of man-made event. So it's quite difficult for me to believe in magic. It's difficult. No, no. Let me tell you something. I'm not saying like, for example, yeah, I don't believe in magic. Let me just be clear. It's no, 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 not me. But there is definitely something, right? Because we understand that everything in life began somewhere, right? That is just a fact. Everything in life began somewhere. Life began somewhere, but nobody really knows where is that somewhere. And we cannot even claim that life began with religion, because that again will be not true. Because when you pay attention to archaeology, right, when we talk about um, the discovery of fossils, the discovery of like bones, for example, right, we have bones that are found to have existed before the invention of any Christianity. So that goes to show you that their life has always existed before Christianity. So which makes it difficult for me to like really, really, really pay attention to Christianity, because for me it's like this is something that was born later in life. It is not something that was there from the beginning of time. You understand? Because people have existed since from the beginning of time. And Christianity or not Christianity, religion is something that was born like in the recent centuries. So I don't know, maybe religion was there from the beginning of time or not. I have no idea. Let's learn here.
And some individuals in his community saw Muhammad as a
This is
threat.
Mahomet.
Why is that? What did he teach? What revelations were given to him? Let's look at the core beliefs of Islam. Number one, Muslims believe that there is one God, the same God of Judaism and Christianity.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, men create religion, which is true. I agree with that one. That one I do not dispute. That one I agree.
Referred to in the Arabic language as Allah. They also believe that Muhammad is his servant and messenger.
Okay, so
Number two, they believe prophets are real. Not only the prophet Muhammad, but the ones before him, including Jesus and other figures such as David and Moses. While Muhammad is just a man, he is believed to be the role model for which all Muslims should aspire to, as the last prophet. Number three,
for me, you know, one thing that also confuses me about religion, right, is that many, I don't know which religion is this one, but I think I've heard about this thing before, that you are not supposed to worship another human being. I think you're not supposed to worship another human being. But Muhammad is a human being. Why do you worship Muhammad? Like, you say that you're not supposed to worship a human being, but Muhammad is a human being. He is a man who lived in his time, irrespective of what you know about him, what you've been taught about him, what he did for his people. But he is also a human being. He is flesh, just like me and you. Your teachings, or the teachings of many religions, always say you're not supposed to worship another human being. But many people worship Muhammad. Is he not a human being, or is it different with him? I don't know. And Muhammad is a man, like a human being who is a man, not even a woman, which doesn't even make sense to me, also. He is a man, not a woman. You know, the universe created two genders. If you were going to worship someone, wouldn't it be fair to worship like a woman and a man, and not just a man? I mean, I would agree with that one. Created religion for men created religions for two reasons: control and money. I would agree with that one. That one, I would agree with it. But
Muslims believe in
Let's
angels
continue.
as divine messengers of God's word. Number four, they believe in revelations, things like messages and texts delivered to humans. They believe the Quran is the final and literal word of God as revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. Number five, Muslims believe in the day of
Okay, so the
resurrection.
Quran, for example, right? They say it is the last message that God delivered to Muhammad. Is the last, right? The last. Who decides? Who decides that? Muhammad or God? Did God say so? Did God say? Did God say that? Who decides? I don't think we have to worship it anything. That's the thing. Unless you believe in John Smith.
Strikingly similar to the book of Revelations. In an
There will be a day
oversimplification,
of
they
resurrection.
believe that an antichrist will eventually be struck down by Jesus returned to earth. Christians might be surprised to
You know,
hear of the
another confusing thing about religion, right, is the figures. You know, the figures. We have these figures of Jesus Christ. It's a figure of like a white creature. It's like this white creature of Jesus Christ. So Jesus is white also.
importance of Jesus here. Following
And
this,
which, for me as a black person, would be a little bit weird to be. I mean, considering my history as a black person, that my ancestors were oppressed by white people. I feel like for me it would be a little bit crazy to say to worship Jesus Christ. Like it would be something crazy. Can you even make that make sense? It's like your oppressor is a white man, and the very same white man turns out to be your Jesus. For me, it's quite contradictory. It's doesn't make sense. No, Jesus was a brown man. Some people they argue that. Many people argue that, but I don't know. I don't know. And I've seen some you know the Ayatollah who was martyred in Iran. He also said the same thing. He even had a statue of Jesus Christ, and if you can see the video online, it is there. The video of the Ayatollah teaching people that Jesus Christ is actually brown, not white. He like the Ayatollah had like it's a little bit of like a statue. The Ayatollah had it that they depicted that Jesus was not white. But here's the thing: the Ayatollah or maybe other people could say that, but the reality that we're living in is that there are billions and billions of people who believe that Jesus is white. You understand? So again, it's a little bit confusing. It's a little bit confusing. I don't know which affects. I have no idea what affects, and I don't know what is man-made. But we're just trying to make sense out of these things that don't make sense. That's the whole point. So the Jesus that you see in pictures was, I could agree with that. I could agree with that. I could agree with that. I could.
No one on earth will question God's power, and there will be a time of peace and prosperity. However, slowly this will decline again, leading to a dark time in which the entire
But
world.
which makes it interesting, right? If indeed Jesus was brown, right? Let's just try to think about this right now. If indeed Jesus was brown, right? We have Buddhists. Buddhists are Asians. If Jesus was brown, if Muhammad was Arabic, then who is the God for the white people? Who is the real God of white people? Because it's something that I'm curious about. Because each and every group or each and every race, right, they have their own God, right? I suppose that's how it is because no one can argue that Buddhism doesn't represent Asian people. You cannot argue that. No one can argue that Muhammad doesn't represent the Islam. I mean the Islamic people. You cannot argue that. Like Muhammad, like or the Quran, not even Muhammad. Let's say the Quran. It I don't know who's the God there. I don't think there is any God. Perhaps that could be the conclusion. Hmm. But again, if there is no God, right? How did everything in this world, how was everything in this world created? Buddha was not God, was not a God. No? Oh, I have no idea about Buddha, but okay, we have another video about Buddhism. We will learn about Buddhism after. Now let's finish learning about Islam.
Has turned its back on God. God will then cause the day of judgment, in which all believers will be rewarded with eternal life in paradise.
And also to understand this, right, is that we have God, right, and then we have the prophets. So Jesus is not God. Jesus is a prophet, accordingly. So maybe like sometimes we're not taught these things correctly because we find ourselves arguing things we don't know. So Jesus is not God. There is God. There is Jesus is a prophet, just like David and they say Moses, right? You when you said creation, you are assuming there is a creator. That's a good one. That is a good take. But then, even when you go to science, right? In high school, I remember when I was studying life sciences. Life sciences. I remember we had the topic of evolution, right? I don't remember a lot of facts, but I do remember. I was in grade 11 then. I was like, how old was I? I was 16 years old, right? And when we were being taught about evolution, there was something that never really sat well with me, and it was because remember, even science tried to tell you where the world started. So according to science, I'm just gonna recall what I learned from grade 11, because when I even the class finished, I followed my teacher because I needed to understand that you guys are they're talking about evolution, where the earth started, right? And then my teacher said that in the beginnings, this is science. I remember this very well because this was something that interested me. My teacher said to me that in the beginning there were particles. I will never even forget the word particles because that was what he said to me. In the beginning, there were particles, right? And then these particles, apparently, they, I don't know, they joined and created, uh, they say water, created scientifically. This is what my teacher taught me. And then that's how maybe let's say water was formed. Science from particles. Particles. It started particles, from particles to the formation of water, to the formation of everything that you see around us. Some things apparently they're not even real, they're just a reflection of maybe the sun with the earth or this and that. Oh, I could agree with that one also. The religion of Islam has a cultural reference about men being more than. Yeah, I could agree with that one. I could. I could. You know, I do watch videos of Sneeko. I think that's his name, the guy. Sneeko. He's a streamer. I do watch his videos and I do see him trying to spread or to teach people about Islam. I'm not saying he's wrong or he's right, but there are some of his arguments that comes out as someone who thinks because he's a man he's superior than a woman. I'm not saying like he is like the things that he does are wrong. He does a great work. To be honest, with respect to the Palestinian genocide, he does really good there. But when he teach about um, Islam and when he critique other people, I feel like he can be a little bit judgmental. So the Quran said really cool things. Like what? Okay, let's hear. Maybe there is something that.
Unrighteous are punished in hell, although some will serve time for their mistakes and then eventually be entered into heaven. The ones who are truly evil and arrogant will reside there forever. Most branches of Islam agree on these core beliefs. But let's take a detour and look at the schisms that have broken up the Islamic tradition. It started to divide following the death of Muhammad, who at the end of his life was leading the Muslim people. Who should replace him as their leader? It was more a question of politics, of leadership. One group believed that the leader of their people should be the actual blood lineage of Muhammad. They would be.
This is something that always strikes me, right? This is something that always strikes me. You are taught about Islam as a Muslim, right? You are taught about Islam as a Muslim. But now, why do you want to force people who are not Muslims to follow what you have been taught in your own country or your own um, wherever the people come from, right? The Middle East, for example. Like for me, it's like I don't have anything against Islam or any religion, right? But one thing that I do not agree with is when people try to force their own beliefs onto other people. You understand this religion like Islam, right? It's a good religion, but it applies to Muslims. Not all people around the world are Muslims, and that means simply because I'm not a Muslim, I cannot believe in what you believe in. I don't understand why it's difficult for people to understand that. I do. Ah, you're a Muslim? Are you Muslim?
Become known as the Shiites, or the Shia people.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Like, considering what's happening in the world today, I would agree with you. Considering what's happening in the world today, I would agree with you 100%. I would agree with you. I would agree with you. Um, for me, I think when every single time I think about religion, right, I think about religion as back in the days when we were at school, because before we had laws, we had regulations and these constitutions, human beings have always had like rules, like common laws, for example. Because that's where religion was born, to be quite honest. It's when religion was born for me, based on like my understanding, it's like it was meant to create order in societies. But over the years, I think I am an atheist. um you are not an atheist if you do not believe. Wait, an atheist is someone who doesn't believe in God. That is an atheist, right? And we have people who is like, you don't agree and you don't disagree. You don't agree and you don't disagree. And also, if you feel like you're an atheist, you have every right to feel that way. You have every right to feel that way, honestly. There is literally nothing wrong with being an atheist. Literally nothing wrong.
This other group believed that a religious leader, someone moral and pious, should lead. These people became known as the Sunni. The Sunni are the vast
Okay, another thing, right, is the death of Muhammad. Blood lineage should lead to the Shia. Ah, is the Shia the one that is actually popular today? Shia, and then we have the Sunni, and then we have the blood lineage should be Shia, and then we have the wait, let's see.
people. Believed that the leader of their people should be the actual blood lineage of Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
They would become known as the Shiites, or the Shia people.
Ah, Shia.
This other group believed that a religious leader, someone moral and pious, should lead. These people became known as the Sunni. This
So I used to believe that if you are a good person, it was enough. I always respected various religion and believe, yeah. But now they wanna push their beliefs into you. That's where I also disagree. I disagree with that because again, we are learning here, right? We are learning here. We are learning about Islam here. That Islam is what it is, a Muslim. Where do Muslims come from? Who are Muslims? You are a Muslim. You can, if for example, for let me say this, if for example, um the push of Islam was between a Muslim and a Muslim, I wouldn't interfere because these are people of the same race, or it's not even a race, the same group, right? It's something that is part of them, it's part of their history, it's part of who they are. They can choose whether to believe in it or not. My problem is when I am not a Muslim. I am I am an African. I am not a Muslim. My problem is when you want to push something that doesn't even have nothing to do with my identity onto me, because I am not a Muslim and I will never be a Muslim. It's impossible to be a Muslim. You have to be born a Muslim to be a Muslim. And you have to be born a Muslim to be an Islam, for example. This thing, it is inherent. You don't force it onto people. It doesn't work that way. But nowadays it's different. People, they're just trying to force their religions onto other people. And also, again, it doesn't make sense. Your teachings tells you that if a person is going to be Islamic, the person must be a Muslim. Yeah, the death of Muhammad, the blood lineage should lead the Shiites, who are now called the Shia people. And then we have another pious leader should lead the Sunni. I'm not sure if the Sunni, I think they're the ones in Iran, if I'm not mistaken. You see, these people, they are part of the same group of people. It makes sense that they can have their own conflicts to do with Islam and everything. But then now the Islamic people, they need to stop forcing people who are not Islam in their own conflict. That is that thing. I know that no one. I know 100%. I know.
Sunni are the vast majority of Muslims, about 85% of the Muslim population, and they span the entire globe. The Shia are much, much less in number, also centrally located in the Middle East, in places like Iran and Iraq. And then there are other small denominations and even non denominational Muslims as well. While this schism began as political, they do have some differences in how they practice the faith as well. So let's look at the 5 pillars, which are not so much about what they believe, which we already discussed, but the practices and things that they do to show their faith. The first pillar is the profession of faith, that all Muslims must acknowledge that God is one and there is no other God. They also believe that Muhammad is
So all Muslims must believe that God is one and there is no other God.
his servant and messenger. This is incorporated into their second pillar, which is prayer. Muslims pray 5 times a day at strict times, and they have
Again, that's nonsensical, right? It's just illogical. It's just illogical. It is just illogical. It just doesn't make sense. I agree with you 100%. It just doesn't make sense, honestly.
very specific purposes. Wherever they are in the world, Muslims pray facing Mecca. They must perform a ritual wash on themselves before prayer to make themselves pure.
I have a question, right? To people who are, pro religion or pro Islam, they have mentioned 3 prophets here: Jesus, David, and Moses, right? Accordingly, since people are very religious and they know a lot about the world, are you telling me that there's never been a prophet who is a woman? All prophets historically have always been men. There has never been a prophet who was a woman. I've never heard anyone talk about a prophet being a woman. Never. All the prophets that you'll hear about are all men. All the prophets are all men. Are you telling me that there's never been a prophet in this life who came as a woman? All Never. Not even a single prophet is a woman. All the prophets in Judaism, Islam, all these religions, they're all men. Coincidentally, very interesting.
follow a set order of positions and prayers. While they can perform this prayer anywhere, Muslims might prefer to pray in a mosque, their place of worship, because it allows for prayer with other individuals and fellowship before and after the prayer. The third pillar is charity, often called almsgiving. Similar to tithing in Christian religions, they may give money to the mosque to help upkeep the place or their services, or for the mosque to distribute to people in need.
They said they are, but because back then that women were less than the men, they were not recognized. These people, they contradict each other. I respect people who are religious, but for me, I just can never be religious because it's like
They can also give to those in need
just
directly.
nothing makes sense to
Islam
me.
pushes to eliminate wealth inequality.
Nothing makes
The
sense to
fourth
me
pillar
about
is
religion.
fasting, revolving around the month called Ramadan. This is the month in which the Quran was revealed to Muhammad. So every year, Muslims celebrate by fasting between sunrise and sunset for an entire month. The dates of this month change, starting at the first sight of a crescent moon and ending with another crescent moon with a celebration holiday called Eid. While fasting is important
Thank you
during this
very
time,
much. Thank you. I appreciate you entertaining me. Bye bye. Have a great day. Have a great day. Thank you very much. Bye.
it's also meant as a time to focus more wholeheartedly on things like prayer and charity. The fifth and last major pillar, at least for Sunni Muslims, is the pilgrimage to Mecca. During their life, Muslims are required to make a trip to Mecca during a certain time of the year, as long as they are practically and financially able to do so. All pilgrims wear identical garb to make no class distinction. When in Mecca, there's a series of rituals that one does, where one reenacts the actions of Prophet Abraham and his wife Hajar, including praying on official ceremonies and walking on certain paths to literally follow in their footsteps. Muhammad was a direct descendant of Abraham from the lineage of Ismail. The Shia have an additional 10 pillars if you're interested in looking them up. I don't want to go too deep into this, but there have been significant and violent clashes between the Sunni and Shiite people, with Saudi Arabia being a significant site for the Sunni people and Iran being significant for the Shiite. These countries and people often might have motive to oust the other. For example, a Shiite group.
These people are religious people, but they want to kill each other. Just make that make sense.
Group in the nearby country of Yemen overthrew a Sunni government that was in place in 2014.
Just make religion make sense to me. Just make religion make sense to me. You all believe that there is one God, but then on the ground you want to kill each other because one is Shia and the other is Sunni.
A Sunni majority population clashes with a Shiite government. There are, of course,
So this is politics. It's like religion or politics.
many factors to these conflicts in these countries, and religion isn't the sole reason, but it's notable all the same. Back to the religion, let's take a look at their holy leaders. Some religions, such as Catholicism, see their holy leaders as intermediaries who help connect their members to God. In Islam, this isn't the case. Individuals can pray and speak directly to God. Their religious leaders are more like teachers and interpreters, helping their members to understand the texts and make wise decisions. One of the most common leaders for Sunni Muslims is the Imam, who is the official that leads prayers and assists the community, often at a mosque. For some Shia Muslims, called Twelvers, Imam is a much rarer title, given to those believed to be chosen by God to be perfect examples and to lead the Muslim people following Muhammad's death. There have been 12 so far, and a 13th who was believed to be currently alive, but they have not appeared yet to lead. Now, only some Shia believe this, not all of them. Going back to Sunni Islam, they don't have the sort of hierarchy that you might see in other Abrahamic religions. There used to be a title called Caliph, given to the supposed successor to Muhammad as the leader of the Muslim community. But there hasn't been a Caliph since the end of World War I and the downfall of the Ottoman Empire. Some militant groups, such as the Islamic State, which we'll discuss later, have referred to their leaders as Caliph and sought to reestablish a caliphate over the Sunni people. Without a central figurehead, there have been many internal
But
and
actually,
external
now I'm getting confused. So the Middle East has had wars more than probably any other continent in the world, right? So are you telling me that all these wars these people have been fighting against for years is because of religion? And then you're telling me that religion is not a problem? Yeah.
conflicts for these groups, as they often diverge philosophically on major issues and have no central voice of authority. Without the hierarchy, the Sunnis believe anyone can become leaders by studying the law and theology. Another interesting thing to note is the role of Mary, the mother of Jesus. Muslims do believe that Mary was a virgin and gave birth to Jesus. She is the only woman who has a chapter in the Quran named after her, and she is mentioned more times in the Quran than she is in the entirety of the New Testament. So she's a very important figure in Islam, and she is considered to be the greatest woman that was ever created. Now might be a good time to discuss the garb that women wear, in case you're unfamiliar. There are minor mentions of wearing a veil in Islamic holy texts, but it never explicitly states how or how much, which is why we'll see such a spectrum of how to cover. The main reason women cover is that God commanded it, though a common consensus more recently is that wearing a veil is a sign of piety, of religious commitment. Wearing it is like an act of virtue with considerable reward. And some believe it's not required at all, so many women of faith don't wear any sort of veil. One of the most common things you'll see is the hijab, a simple headscarf that covers the head and neck. The term hijab doesn't always mean the actual scarf. Its roots come from a meaning of modesty that both men and women are expected to adhere to. This is one of those areas that might drastically differ between individuals and what it looks like for them to wear hijab. Next, we have the niqab, a covering that covers the entire head and face, though leaves an opening for the eyes. And lastly, we have the burqa, covering the entirety of the body and face and only having a mesh over the eyes. The burqa is incredibly rare, really only prevalent recently in Afghanistan, where it was forced upon women by the extremist Taliban regime. Now that I said the word Taliban, it's time to discuss how extremism, terrorism, and the word jihad come into play. In the Quran, the word jihad is used to mean struggle. Sometimes its context is internal. Jihad
it's very interesting. The groups that are quite attacking Christians in Nigeria are called jihadists. They are the jihad people. Like, just give me, like, do just tell me if religion is really peaceful or catastrophic. Because, like I said, if you were to visit the history, even in the modern days, when you try to understand why are these people fighting, why do these people hate each other, there is always religion in between. So let's say we take out religion, do you think people will still fight? Let's say we take out religion, do you think those is jihadists, Nigerians will kill Christians, or they will kill their fellow Nigerians? Because people keep saying like Nigerians are killing Christians. That is not true. No, Nigerians are killing Nigerians. They need to fix these headlines. They need to fix these headlines. Nigerians are killing Nigerians who are Christians. Not like Nigerians are killing Christians. No, they are killing their own people because of religion. So let's take the religion out of, let's say take Christianity out of Nigeria. Take Islam out of Nigeria. Let's see if those people will still kill each other. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because they won't have any reason to kill each other. Right? Because now they're killing each other because these ones are Christians, these ones are jihadists, which is part of Islam also. So take Christianity out of Nigeria, take Islam out of Nigeria. Let's see what now they're going to kill each other for.
One's inner demons. Sometimes the context is external, a holy war against unbelievers. It is a complicated term. It doesn't always mean that blood must be spilled. There's a comparison in multiple ways to the term crusade, which is often a cause or struggle. It also alludes to the Crusades, where soldiers fought to reclaim lands for Christianity and was seen as a holy war of sorts for themselves. The nuance of the word jihad has been lost, as it's often the first evidence given that Islam is a warmongering religion. It means much more than that. The other evidence that people cite is the rise of extremism and then terrorism coming from supposedly Muslim groups. Extremism is rampant in any group. For example, there are extremist Christians who might bomb a Planned Parenthood in the name of their religion. There are extremists for everything. But the definition of extremism is that those people are wildly on the far end of the spectrum and not typical within the population at all. But the problem is that these extremists within the Muslim community have been vocal and dangerous. One of the most notable militant extremist groups is Al-Qaeda and its former leader, Osama bin Laden. This group believes that a Christian Jewish alliance is working to destroy Islam, so they see their right for survival as a truly worthy jihad. Their most famous act of terrorism was the 9/11 attacks on the United States World Trade Center, resulting in nearly 3,000 deaths. This attack triggered a resurgence in anti-Muslim sentiment across the globe and heightened Islamophobia, even though only roughly 40,000 people worldwide are involved with Al Qaeda, out of Islam's total world population of nearly 2 billion. That would put Al Qaeda as about 0.002% of the Muslim population, meaning that any generalization on such a small percentage would be nonsensical. More recently, we've seen the growth of another extremist group, the Islamic State, sometimes called ISIS or ISIL or Daesh. Originally, this group pledged allegiance to Al Qaeda before becoming its own independent group. They claim that their leader is the caliph of the entire Muslim community, which has made even groups such as Al Qaeda break ties with them. These militant and dangerous groups do exist, but the larger Muslim community across the entire spectrum of denominations denounce these horrific acts that groups such as Al Qaeda and the Islamic State commit. Saudi Arabia has denounced these groups completely and classified them as terrorist organizations. Across the board, scholars and leaders have come out to say that these groups are not at all Islamic, instead misunderstanding and misrepresenting the Quran. In India,
Do you know
70
do you know what's funny? What's funny is that when I decided to make or to go live today, the whole idea was to learn about religion, to be honest, but I ended up learning about the greatest terrorists in the world. And apparently, these terrorists are associated with a religion. Isn't that weird? It's like you go online, you want to educate yourself about religion, and in the end, you get, or in the end, you end up learning about terrorism, war, killings, and then where does that leave me? Now I have to start thinking if is religion a problem in the world? Because I was supposed to be learning about Islam, but now I'm learning that Islam is associated with a lot of terrorist groups. Al Qaeda, ISIS. I wanted to learn about what they believe in, their teachings, what they are taught. But now I'm just learning that they're terrorists.
thousand Muslim leaders came together to denounce these groups. There are 60 countries currently waging war with members of the Islamic State. Many of those countries are of a Muslim majority, fighting people within their own borders. The Muslim people have been strongly vocal about these extremist groups and are actively fighting against them. So, as we wrap up, hopefully you found this interesting. Islam is a diverse religion spread across the globe with different denominations that believe different things. It's difficult to generalize Muslims considering how diverse they are across this spectrum.
Yeah, if there is one thing I learned about Islam, honestly speaking, there is nothing good that I learned about Islam. I'm just gonna be honest. There is nothing good I learned about Islam. Zero. 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 Nothing. I learned nothing good about Islam. Nothing. Literally zero. I just learned that it is associated with the work, all the problems in the world, from Al Qaeda, from ISIS, the Taliban, and like literally, I'm not even joking. Like 59 minutes of my life trying to educate myself about Islam, and I didn't even learn anything good about Islam. Zero. You know what? Now let's go to Buddhism. Let's go to another religion. Supposedly, here I learned some positive things. So now we have Buddhism. What is Buddhism? Oh, Buddhism.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is base 44. This is the first. Buddhism, a non-religious religion. The religion of the Buddha is not a religion in the conventional sense because it lacks a system of faith, dogmas, and sacred texts. It does not believe. Buddhism, a non-religious religion.
Non-religious religion.
The religion of the Buddha is not a religion in the conventional sense because it lacks a system of faith, dogmas, and sacred texts. It does not believe in God, souls, or any kind of heaven. It does not require faith, yet it remains a religion. This is a unique phenomenon in the history of human consciousness.
So okay, they're saying Buddhism is it's like a non-religion because they don't believe in God. They don't believe in. They don't have faith. Oh, interesting.
No one can compare to the Buddha. He said that God is merely a search for consolation, safety, a refuge. You believe in
Two,
God not because.
two. What do you mean by two? No, no, this is actually the second part of me learning about religion. The first religion that I learned about today was Islam, and like I said, why I spent 1 hour of my life learning about Islam just to only learn that Islam is how can I even describe Islam? It's quite a disastrous religion. I'm sorry I have to say this. It is disastrous. It is quite disastrous. I'm sorry because the only thing that I learned, thank you very much. I love you too. Because the only thing I learned from Islam today was that most of its followers somehow they end up becoming terrorists. I don't get it. I don't. It's like it is something that I'm still trying to like understand. Like how does like it doesn't make sense. It's supposed to be a religion, something positive, something healing. But the only thing that I got from that 1 hour was that Islam or its followers or people who believe in Islam, they're behind Al Qaeda, they're behind ISIS, they're behind the Taliban, they're behind literally anything bad you can think of in the world. It is somehow associated with Islam. Somehow associated with Islam. Is that I didn't learn anything good about Islam today. You know what? Let me focus on Buddhism. Maybe I will learn something positive about Buddhism.
Because there is a God, but because you feel vulnerable without that belief. Even if there were no God, you would invent one. That belief stems from your own weakness. It is a projection. Humanity
Because
feels limited.
because remember, while I was reading while I was learning about Islam, right? I also got to learn like the Muhammad division of the Shia and the Sunni. Those people they also don't like each other. They kill each other. Like, but they have one thing common: praise God or worship God. But they still kill each other. They terrorize each other. They've turned the Middle East into one of the unsafest part of the world. Literally. Like the Middle East was supposed to be one of the most important, well, all parts of the world are important, right? But the Middle East was supposed to be one of those places in the world. But apparently, like now the Middle East has turned into like uh, that part of the world full of terrorists, like because it's always about terrorists there. And when you learn about these terrorists, it has something to do with Islam. I am a Sunni. I'm superior. I am a Shia. I am superior. It's like they're even fighting amongst each other. Now they're dragging the whole world into their own conflicts.
powerless, as though victims of circumstance, because they do not know where they come from, where they are going, and why they are here. Without God, it is difficult for ordinary people to find meaning in life. They
Mm-mm. You see, this is your opinion. It's your opinion, sir. Because that's why I don't like learning about other religions from a different group of people. Let me try if I can find like a Buddhist explaining Buddhism. I don't know if I can find a video of a Buddhist explaining Buddhism because that one I knew it will start talking crap. So, what is Buddhism? What do Buddhists believe? Okay.
To say that I love this job is an understatement. I've been on the data annotation platform for about a year and a half.
Okay, let's hope like this person will focus on Buddhism and leave God and
Welcome
whatever.
to I'm Your Target Demographic. In our continuing series on world religions, we turn our sights now to Buddhism. This is a superficial video meant to explain to non-Buddhist viewers what this religion entails and what they believe. Let's
Okay.
start at the beginning. Buddhism can be a complicated religion to explain in terms of history for a few reasons. It's incredibly old, originating somewhere in the range of 500 years BCE, or before Common Era. Even before this, though, Buddhism has roots in a variety of belief sets that parallel what is now known as Jainism, which I may eventually cover in another video. At the time, India put its main focus on.
You know what's interesting about Buddhism that I just thought about it now is that Buddhism is very is quite a big or respected I don't know. I don't want to say religion, but the thing is like I don't know what to call it because it's not even a religion. But you don't go around the world and then you see the Buddhist temples. You only see the Buddhist temples in Asia, only in Asia. You can go around the world, you never find Buddhist temples. But you can go around the world, you find the Muslim mosques. You go to Europe, there are mosques. You go to Africa, there are mosques. You go now they want to even bring these mosques in Asian countries. In Japan, they rejected it. It's like you don't even. It's like they will call me Islamophobia or whatever that it is. I don't even understand what that it means. But this goes to show you that no man, there's something wrong with these people. You don't like. I'm serious. You don't see like the Buddha in in the Middle East. You don't see Buddha in Africa. You don't see Buddha in Europe, but you see mosques everywhere in the world. Why? Because mosque is supposed to be in the Middle East or wherever the Muslims live. It's supposed to only be limited to the Muslim countries or communities because that is their belief. That's their religion. Why are they forcing it like into other countries and continents and people? I don't know.
Tradition based on texts called the Vedas, which
In
were
fact, there is a video. There is a video in China where the Chinese government was taking down the mosques. They considered or they concluded that like these people are sick people, like the communities, those people are sick, like the Muslims. I'm not saying like Muslims are sick people or whatever the case may be, but when it comes to religion, Muslims are human beings just like the rest of us. There are good Muslims in this world, amazing Muslims. But when I'm talking about religion, right? Perspective of the religion. So here's the thing, right? You are a Muslim. Islam is a Muslim religion. Why are you now taking it to Asia, a place of Asian people? Why are you taking it to Africa, a place of African people? Africans are not Muslims. Asians are not Muslims. In Europe, it's even big now. Like in Europe, it's big. Like there are many mosques probably in Europe more than there are mosques in the Middle East. To be quite honest.
ancient Sanskrit texts which informed their beliefs and made up a foundation for the Hinduism faith. There was a bit of division as a man.
Islam came from Asia. Which part of Asia? Which part of Asia? Which part of Asia? It could. Which part of Asia? Wait, I'm waiting.
Siddhartha Gautama began to teach a shift from this normal way of being, based on discipline and abstaining from indulgences. See, he was a bit sheltered, and as he discovered more about the world, he began to teach on the lessons he's learned. There were a people, typically called Shramanas, who were religious leaders, though these Shramanas would focus on very different things, such as some focusing on nonviolence or some focusing on vegetarianism. Siddhartha Gautama was one of these Shramanas. He didn't teach the sort of extreme discipline that others.
Arabia is in Asia. Where did you get your degree? Walmart. Okay. Okay. Arabia. So, Mr. Smart, would you consider the Arabs Asians? Do they consider themselves Asians? I have a question for you. Are Arabs Muslims? I mean, sorry, are Arabs Asians? Are what do we call Muslims Asians? Do they consider themselves Asians? I have a question.
Might have been teaching. He instead taught a middle way.
Yes, but okay. You know, there is something that I learned from what is the name of that guy? Best. Wait, let me find his name. There is this. What is his name? He's an Egyptian guy who tried to teach. Like he was asked this question if whether um Egypt Egypt in Africa or is Egypt in the Middle East? Do you consider Egyptian Africans or do you consider them Arabs? That's a question that the guy, like some people asked him, is Egypt in Africa? Are Egyptians Africans? Or is Egypt in the Middle East? Are Egyptian Arabs or whatever? So he didn't say are Egyptians Asians, because if you say now that Arabic people are Asians, that means Egyptians are also Asians, because that was his answer, not my answer. Wait, I need that video that explains geography. What is the name of that guy? Best something. Best. Mm, I watched that video today where he was asked, what was the question? The question was, okay, is Egypt is Egypt in Africa or Middle East? Maybe that guy's explanation will come. I'm not a geography expert. Oh yes. Ah, this is the guy.
Is Egypt considered the Middle East or is it considered North Africa? Ah, yeah. This is bad. This is, it's a question from, it's a geographical question. It's a geographical
Let's
question.
talk about I'm gonna ask you after I finish watching this video. Okay?
Is Egypt considered the Middle East or is it considered North Africa? Ah, yeah. This is bad. This is, it's a question from, it's a geographical question. It's a geographical. Let's talk about Middle East, okay, because we use Middle East loosely to just make it easier. Mm-hmm. But the term itself comes from middle to what? Why is it called Middle East? I don't know. And why is Japan called the Far East? It's a good question.
Egypt is in the African continent, correct? But do Egyptians consider themselves Africans? It doesn't matter if like a country is on the continent. It's about the people, what the people call themselves. Do they call themselves Africans? Do Moroccans call themselves Africans? I'm not talking about where it is located. I'm talking about like the people, what the people call themselves. Not where it is located. Yes, it is in Africa. But do those people consider themselves Africans? Okay, let me listen to this
Because
video.
these were names that were named by the British Empire. It is the Middle East.
Exactly. And I agree with him. All of this, like the geography, this is Africa, this is Middle East, all of this geography was drawn by the European empires. Meaning that people can the Egyptians they could be located there in Africa, but they can say they are not Africans. It doesn't mean that they are wrong. Or the Arab people, they can say they're not Asians, they're Arabic. That doesn't mean that they could be wrong. It's about what they identify as themselves. There's nothing to do with with what the European empire designated or chose to draw and say these people are Africans, these are the Middle East, these are the da 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 da.
It's as Far East for me, Middle East to me. They're the ones. It's the British-centric terminology. Right. Because Britain is here. Yeah. So Britain is here, and then Egypt is here. Yeah. And then Japan is here. So that's the Far East, and this is the middle of Britain, and this is the Middle East to Britain. So you see.
Can I identify? Can I identify myself as what? It's based on the color of my skin. It's based on the color of my skin. Are you telling me that, okay, today, if a group of Asian people migrate to Africa, would you call them Africans? Today, if a group of Asian people migrate to Africa, would you call them Africans? No. Why? Why is, this is something that I learned recently. Why is it that like Chinese people can have generation and generation and generation and generation and generation and generation in Europe, in Africa, in anywhere in the world, they will always still be called Chinese. Why? Because they are Chinese. Just because the Arabs, let's say that the Arabs who are living in the north of Africa, just because those people they are living in Africa, it doesn't automatically mean that they are Africans. They can say we are Arabic, and rightfully so, because that is their ethnicity. Nationality does not equal ethnicity. Those two things are different. They're different. There are many black people living in Europe. Many black people living. They have lived there for decades, decades and decades and decades. Are they called Europeans? No, they are called Africans. No, you are. That is not true. I disagree. I disagree. I disagree. Nationality and ethnicity are not the same things. It's about who are the indigenous of the land. Africans are black people. Europeans are white people. Hey, geography was drawn by a person. Geography was drawn by a human being, a person. Okay, let me play this video again so that you can understand.
Considered the Middle East, or is it considered North Africa? Ah, yeah. This is bad. This is, it's a question it's a geographical question.
It doesn't matter if they are all white, they're still Europeans. I'm telling you, it depends on the history of the people. I don't know what race they are, but whoever are the indigenous of Europe. How is that silly? It's not silly. It's not silly. You guys are trying to change, I think, history. You are trying to change history. You are trying to change history. No. You're trying to change history. History is history. Just because some people they conquered territories and countries, it doesn't mean that if their people are going to be born in that place. What history are you teaching me? You are telling me about geography, the map that people are still debating that it's incorrect. Because when you look at that map, it shows Africa as a small continent. But when people they say give us the real map, they say Africa is bigger than all the continents in the world. What history are you teaching me? 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 So what? It is in Africa. No one is disputing. Like, no one is saying Morocco is not in Africa. That is not even the debate. That is not even an argument right now between me and you. Our argument is what do Moroccans identify as? Like, what do they identify as? I'm not talking about the geography. Okay, let me finish.
It's a geographic.
Let's talk about Middle East,
Okay.
because we use Middle East loosely to just make it easier. But the term.
Not. It doesn't matter, bruh. It doesn't matter. Yes, I know about those other tribes. I know. It doesn't matter. No, you said Arabs are Asians. That's what you said. That's what you said. You said Arabs are Asians. And some Arabic people can dispute that we are not Asians, we are Arabic. That is what you argued. That's what you said they're Asians. They can say we're not Asians. And you cannot dispute that they said they're not Asians. They have every right to say we're not Asians. Just because, bruh, you said, I said, Arabia, Islam came from Asia. You see, if you're going to argue with someone and then you start insulting them, that says a lot about you, actually. That says a lot about you. So, you wanted to talk about geography? I told you about geography. That just because someone demarcated like an area and said this is Asia, it doesn't mean that all people who live in that demarcated area are Asians. That's what I said. You were talking about a map, right? A map was drawn by a human being, and particularly the European Empire. People didn't ask for them to be called, or for their territories to be called Africa or Asia or whatever it's called. Okay, then who created maps? Who created maps?
Itself comes from middle to what? Why is it called Middle East?
But okay, what is this person saying? I said is okay, you are saying Islam came from Asia. And who have been those people?
I don't know.
And why is Japan called the Far East?
It's a good question.
Because these were names that were named by the British Empire. It is the middle. It is Far East for me, Middle East to me.
They're the ones.
It's the British-centric terminology.
Right.
So
I love the fact that you say that I love the fact that you're saying geographically, right? Geographically, right? Because they say Saudi Arabia, the Middle East countries are within what we call Asia, right? I like that you mentioned that. What do you say? I said Arabia, Islam came from Asia. Okay.
It's that so because Britain is here. Yeah. So Britain is here, and then Egypt is here. Yeah. And then Japan is here. So that's the Far East, and this is the middle of Britain, and this is the Middle East to Britain. So you see, so now there's like a huge talks about like don't use the Middle East; it's a colonial term. But like I use it just for simplicity. Right. So to answer your question, yes, Egypt is in the Middle East. Sure. It's in that region where they call now the Middle East. Yeah. And also we're North Africa. So basically, to answer your question, Egypt is, yes, they're Middle East. And in the same time, they are North Africa. So and at the same time,
Okay, let me go. Wait, let me go back to learning about Buddhism.
Eventually becoming fully formed as what is now known as the Eightfold Path. 8 practices that would lead to liberation, or as he called it, nirvana. He was later given the title of Gautama Buddha, though Buddha is a title that many other people have been given many times long after they've passed. Before we dive into these 8 practices to achieve
Buddhist
enlightenment,
monks
let's zoom out and
love
look at the 4 core
nirvana.
beliefs of Buddhism, called the Four Noble Truths.
Buddhist monks are wise. You know, I don't know. I don't want to. I cannot agree or disagree because I don't know. But one thing I know for a fact is that Buddhist or Asian countries that practice Buddhism, they don't fight. They are not in wars. They don't have terrorists. I live in Thailand. This is like Buddhism. It is strongly respected here. You don't see people fighting here. You don't hear that there are terrorists in Thailand. Uh, many Asian countries, right? They don't fight. It's very interesting. So Buddhist monks are wise. Maybe I can agree, yes, because they don't fight, right? They don't fight. They don't kill each other because yeah, we are Shia, you are Sunni, those like in Islam.
Truths, which Siddhartha discovered as he began to see more about the real world outside of his sheltered life. The first truth is that suffering exists. It is birth, it is aging, it is illness,
I mean,
and
that is
death.
true.
Pain is everywhere. The second truth acknowledges the origin of this pain, that there is a craving for this pain, such as craving for sensual pleasures, craving material goods. We desire, even though we know it is painful. The third truth is the end of suffering. It is that this craving can be stopped and you can be free from it. The fourth truth is how to be rid of this suffering, which points to the Eightfold Path.
You know, I don't know about if this is true or not, right? I once went to a temple and one of the Buddhists there told me that they believe in karma. Like that's what Buddhism is about, is karma. It's like you get what you give, or something like that. But he says something in line with karma, that is what they believe in, karma.
8 practices that can help to end this cycle of pain and suffering. Let's look at what these 8 practices are in the Eightfold Path. It begins with the right view, meaning that our actions have consequences. Death is not the end, and there are consequences after death. Buddhism focuses on a cycle of rebirth called samsara. This cycle of rebirth is painful, which is why people eventually want to earn liberation from the cycle. They believe this reincarnation might put you into another human body, or perhaps an animal, or even a spirit. There are many ways you might return to this earth. The second practice is the right resolve to give up the world and live your life in dedication to following this path. You should focus on loving others, abstinence from sensuality, and a life of compassion. The third practice is right speech. Don't lie, don't be rude, no gossiping. Right conduct means not to injure or kill others, not taking what's not yours, and no material desires, including sexual acts. The fifth practice is the right livelihood, that you would possess only what is essential to sustain life. How you make
Okay, one thing I can. Okay, one thing I have got so far when it comes to Buddhism is just it is just realistic religion. I'll put if it's because some people that argue like it's a non-religion because they say a religion there must be you must have faith, there must be God involved if you were to call something a religion. But yeah, based on what I'm learning here, I could conclude that it's a realistic um, way of viewing the world and people and just the way of living. Because I feel like this is how normal people think, I suppose.
You should be ethical and compassionate. Number 6 is right effort, that you should foresee your mental state and stop impure and negative thoughts, which includes ill will towards others, worry, and doubt. You want to focus on meditating and focusing on stopping these thoughts before they arise. Right mindfulness follows. Not only preemptively stopping negative thoughts, but focus on what you are thinking. Be always aware of your thoughts and actions. Try to be aware of reality, your own
Love
impermanence.
Nirvana. What is love Nirvana?
The eighth practice is right concentration, or called right samadhi, which is a culmination of the other traits. You have lived your life morally, been in the right mindset, you're able to stop negative thoughts and focus fully, resulting in a very powerful state of meditation. By acknowledging the Four Noble Truths and following the Eightfold Path, there is a state called nirvana, which results in the end of your constant rebirth and the pain that comes with it. Now, nirvana is going to be difficult to explain because when you achieve nirvana, it is the extinction of your physical life. So there's no one that has experienced it that can really explain it to you. And even Buddhists often disagree with what attaining nirvana means and looks like. So you might run across different definitions. I'm going to introduce a term here called bodhisattva, which is someone who has nearly attained nirvana, but has chosen to remain here and delay nirvana to help others achieve it. Now, to prove why this is complicated, there are others called arhats, typically often monks who have chosen a solitary life, so they have already achieved enlightenment through nirvana. So you can understand why this is a bit confusing and why people might disagree on what enlightenment truly looks like. So back to Gautama Buddha. He taught these lessons and helped others to understand enlightenment and how to achieve it. For a long time, these lessons were oral tradition, meaning they were just passed on by spoken word until people started to transcribe his lessons almost 400 years later. Because of this lack of written text, Buddha's personal life and even what years he lived are constantly debated. His lessons, originally centered out of India and what is now Nepal, though Buddhism has spread now across the world. Interestingly, Buddhism has actually declined in India, only 0.7% of the population. There are countries, however, where Buddhism is the national religion, such as Cambodia and Thailand, where over 90% of its residents are Buddhist. By pure number, the most Buddhists reside in China, with over 185 million. But that's only 16% of China's total population. Buddhism is also the primary religion in Tibet, or the Tibetan Autonomous Region of China. This Tibetan Buddhism has evolved and changed a bit from other forms of Buddhism, influenced by the religions in that region before Buddhism spread there.
Love Nirvana.
We're at 8 Adventures Base Camp. Now, let me talk about a figure you probably know something of, the Dalai Lama. In Tibet, the Dalai Lama is the head of one of its schools of Tibetan Buddhism and is a symbol for unifying the Tibetan region. It's an old tradition started in the early 1400s. The people of Tibet believe that an ancient bodhisattva named Avalokitesvara is reincarnated and acts as a benevolent watcher over Tibet. For context, Avalokitesvara is one of these bodhisattvas that held back enlightenment to help others, and is now believed to be reincarnated, looking out for those suffering in the world, and she returns to help alleviate this pain. As of this video's creation, the 14th Dalai Lama is Tenzin Gyatso, a religious name given to him once he took the mantle. Since they believe this is reincarnation, when the Dalai Lama dies, they begin to seek out his replacement, usually relying on visions or clues to tell them where the child is. The current Dalai Lama was found when he was only a few years old, and announced as the new Dalai Lama when he was only 5 and given full duties at 15. Now, I'm not going to go too in-depth here, but there was an uprising of Tibetans against China, which forced the Dalai Lama to flee Tibet, where he fled to India. China is still angry about this, and the Tibetans' dedication to the Dalai Lama. They can still be arrested if they're seen with photos of him, for example. The current Dalai Lama now tours the world, speaking of Tibet's struggles and advocating for peace. So that is just a short summary. Again, it's very superficial. This is meant for people who maybe don't know anything and they just want to get an idea as to what Buddhists believe in. It doesn't cover the nuance of how they perform these practices, the complicated nuances between various branches of Buddhism, or all the various terms and positions included in the religion. If you found this interesting, check out some of my other videos on religions and let me know what other religions you'd like to see me explain. Thanks.
Okay, now I'm gonna go to the last religion, which is Christianity. Okay, Buddhism. I didn't actually come across anything violent about it. Unlike Islam, yeah, Islam is yeah now. Unless if maybe this video didn't explain Islam correctly, but if this video explained Islam correctly, then Islam is definitely not a religion to aspire. Based on the video that I watched, okay, the first video that I watched was about Islam, and by the end of the video, I learned that may like the practices of the Muslims, for example, which who are so Islam is a religion, Muslims are the people. Okay, so I think Islam is quite complex. I don't know, unless if maybe that video was a little bit misleading, because what I learned from Islam today is that it is associated with a lot of terrorist groups. That's one thing I learned about Islam. That's one thing I learned because these terrorist groups also it's as a result of like the differences in their beliefs of Islam. Some they believe in the Shia, some believe in Sunni and those kind of things. So they end up, fighting against each other somehow. I don't know. So what is Christianity? What do Christians believe? Okay, let's find out.
Possible because of the work of
Christianity.
In today's video, I'll answer your question, what is Christianity and what do Christians believe? Then afterward, as always, I'll share some helpful resources, so stick around to the end. The beliefs elemental to Christianity are summarized in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1 through 4. Jesus died for our sins and was resurrected and thereby offers salvation to all who will receive him in faith. Unique among other faiths, Christianity is more about a relationship than religious practices. Instead of adhering to a list of do's and don'ts, the goal of a Christian is to cultivate a close walk with God. That relationship is made possible because of the work of Jesus Christ and the ministry of the Holy Spirit. Beyond the foundational belief in the gospel are other doctrines that define what Christianity is and what traditional Christians believe. Christians believe that the Bible is the inspired, God-breathed Word of God, and that its teaching is the final authority in all matters of faith and practice. Christians believe in one God who eternally exists in three persons: the Father, the Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. Christians believe that mankind was created to have a relationship with God. But sin separates all humanity from God. Christianity teaches that Jesus Christ is the Son of God incarnate, that he is fully God, yet fully man. Christianity teaches that Jesus died on a cross to pay for the sins of the world. Christians believe that after his death, Christ was buried. He rose again bodily, ascended into heaven, and now sits at the Father's right hand, where he intercedes for believers. Christianity proclaims that the shedding of Jesus' blood was sufficient to completely pay the sin debt owed by all people. His death and resurrection are what make possible the restoration of God's relationship with humanity. Christianity teaches that to be reconciled to God, one must place his or her faith in the finished work of Christ. If we believe that Christ died in our stead to pay the price of our own sins and that he rose again from the dead, then we are saved. Salvation is the gracious act of God in which we are forgiven of our sin, adopted into God's family, and given a new nature. At salvation, the Holy Spirit indwells us, seals us, and transforms us to live as God would have us live. Christianity teaches that there is nothing anyone can do to earn salvation. We cannot be good enough to please God on our own because we are all sinners. Christians believe that Christ has done all the work on their behalf. On the cross, Jesus said, "It is finished." John chapter 19, verse 30, meaning that the work of redemption was complete. According to Christianity, salvation is freedom from the old sin nature and the right to be called sons and daughters of God. The saved are emancipated from their slavery to sin and are now slaves to Christ. The struggle against sin continues, however, Christians can have victory over sin as they obey God's word and submit to the Holy Spirit's leading in everyday circumstances. Many religious systems require a person to do or not do certain things, but Christianity is about faith in a person and his work. When we put our trust in Jesus, our sin debt is paid, and we have genuine fellowship with God. He gives us the Holy Spirit to be with us forever. He teaches us in his word. He enables us to live out his ways by the power of his Spirit. The Christian life is one of growth in love and knowledge of God, in awareness of our own sinfulness, and learning to hate sin and live in righteousness. Christianity is meant to be characterized by love for God and love for others.
For some weird reason, right? I just remembered this. I remember this scene in Young Sheldon, where Sheldon he said that after spending his time trying to learn and understand religion, he said, "I'm going to start my own religion." But like, okay, let me try to find it. Hello, hello, Humphrey. I hope you're doing well out there. Wait, I need to find that young Sheldon scene when like he was trying to to learn about religion and what he said by the end of whatever that he discovered. Wait, let me see. Young Sheldon. Young Sheldon. Let's see. Wants to start his own religion. Yes. Is this?
So I just started freestyling, testing my mic, and this is what I did right here.
So it starts here, right?
For Sunday school.
Wait, I have to show you this part. Wait, wait. Let me start. Let me start like here. Young Sheldon.
I'm studying for Sunday school. You're reading the Bible? That's wonderful. I do have a question. Sure, what? Is there anyone in our town from the Amalek tribe? I don't know. Why? If there is, we're supposed to kill them and their cows. Well, no. There's no Amaleks. Told ya.
Wait, is there like a verse in the Bible that says if there are people from the Amalek, they must be killed? I have no idea.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Very good. Now, before we get started this morning, I want to introduce two new students, Sheldon and Missy Cooper. Let's give them a warm welcome. Yes, Billy.
I know them.
Thank you, Billy.
You're welcome, Pastor Jeff.
Now, last week we started talking about the Gospel of John. Does anybody have a notion as to what God's getting at in that passage? Yes, Sheldon.
Chapter 1, verse 1 states, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God."
Well done.
Thank you. I read the Gospels last night. Suck up. Did you know when the Bible says the word, they're translating the Greek expression logos, and logos means knowledge.
Sounds like someone has a noggin full of logos. Yes, Billy.
They live on my block.
Terrific. Okay, what God means to me. Who'd like to go first? Billy.
I'd like to go third.
All righty. Who's feeling brave? Missy.
I'll go second.
Great. Does anybody want to go first?
I'll go.
Okay, come on up here, Sheldon. Let's hear what you got.
I've spent the last week studying what people believe, and I've come to a conclusion.
And what's that?
I'm starting my own religion.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm calling it mathology. It's based on a universal binary system.
That's terrific, Sheldon, but this is a Baptist Sunday school.
I know. I'm here to convert everybody.
I'm serious. Like, after learning about religion today, I just want to start my own religion at this point. Like, I feel like because today I only explored three religions: Islam, Buddhism, and Christianity. I think Buddhism is even better. Like, it is not complex, It is not like confusing or a little bit brainwashing, where the people they're trying to take you out of the reality and create this world for you that doesn't even exist so that you can believe there's this higher power or whatever. I'm not saying like these things are not real, right? People have a right to believe in what they believe. But I'm just saying that after learning what I learned today about religion, I'm just like Sheldon. I want to start my own religion because I don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't understand, but I respect it, but I don't understand it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. None of it made sense except for Buddhism. Buddhism made sense because it's just about realistic things that they believe in. It's just about the things that you experience on your daily basis. It's not about the beginning. That also it is not even explained well in a way that I understand, because I didn't understand nothing. Even this video that I was just watching right now about Christianity, it leaves me with so many questions. It's like, but I won't ask those questions because I might offend Christians, and I don't want to offend people. But one thing I can say is that, you know what, good people, believe in what you believe, but do not force your belief on other people. That's the only thing I'm against 100%. You can be a Christian, you can be in Islam, you can be Hindu, you can be Buddhist. It's your choice, it's your life. Do you be happy? Just don't force it onto other people. Just don't. Like, don't. Because the more you try to force, like, religion, your beliefs onto other people, we have our own opinions, and we are going to express those opinions, and they're going to come off a little bit judgmental, and or a little bit disrespectful of your belief. So if you don't want people to disrespect your belief, then believe in what you believe, keep it to yourself. Don't force it onto other people. When you force it onto other people, you will get the reaction that you might not like. So to all the Christians out there, all the Islam out there, all the Buddhists out there, guys, I wish you a happy life. That's all that matters, right? The most important thing in life is being happy. Just be happy. and be a good person, be a kind person, and that's all. There's no need to hate each other because you guys believe in different things. Just believe in what you believe and live your life. Let people believe in their own things and live your life. And stop forcing your religions onto other people. Just stop. So that's it for religion today. Did I learn anything fruitful? Anything fruitful? I don't know. There is nothing that I learned, honestly. But when it comes to Islam, I learned a lot of bad things. Trust me. Christianity is the things that I always hear people talk about. Nothing bad with Christianity, honestly speaking. I just think it's a good religion, you know. As long as they're not killing people in the name of religion out there, is better. Because what's happening in the world today, you don't see people, you don't see, let's say Christians, for example, you don't see Christians killing other people because the other people don't believe in Christianity. It's the same with Buddhism. You don't see people killing other people today because the people don't believe in Buddhism. But we do see Islam killing people today because these people, they chose to be Christians. So if you were to ask me which of the religions that I learned today is problematic, I would say Islam. Literally, is a problematic religion. Unless if maybe these people, they don't practice it honestly, they lie about what they are taught in their books. Because when you look at the killing of Christians in Nigeria, for example, is because the people, they are Islam. And apparently, I don't know if it's in the Quran. I don't know. I've never read the Quran. I don't know. But the justification for the killing of Christians, it connects to Islam. It connects to the cleansing in Gaza. It connects to Islam. You know, many conflicts going on around the world are associated with Islam. People enjoying their lives, trying to eat food in the subway. A person comes, tells them you cannot eat food in public. I'm fasting. It's Islam. So these people, they have a lot of problems. I don't know, like I said, right? It could be that maybe they are not reading what the Quran says, is the things that maybe they've been taught by other people and influenced by other people. It's not I don't know what the Quran says, but I'm just telling you reality, what's happening in the world today. If you see someone carrying a Palestinian flag, for example, and someone approach them and say, "Don't hold the Palestinian flag," who is that person? Islam. It has to do with Islam. It's like, for me, I don't know. From my observations, most of the things that are happening, bad things in the world, they are connected to Islam. Al Qaeda, Islam. Mm, 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 mm. Al Qaeda, what is that? ISIS, Islam. Mm. You have seen those debates in the streets in the United States where people are debating about religion, right? About religion, about Islam and Christianity. People always get agitated and want to fight other people. Muslims, they're always the Muslims. Muslims are the one who always get agitated and the one to beat other people. They're the ones who think their God is superior. I'm talking about the reality. I'm not saying, like I said, I will repeat. The behavior of the people sometimes does not reflect their teachings. It could be that maybe these people, they are reading something that is brainwashing them about Islam. I don't really know the depth of Islam or what is even true about Islam. We do know that we do have imposters of religion in the world. There are people, fake pastors, I've said this, who claim to be Christians, like, but they're fake pastors. Maybe these jihadists, these Al Qaeda, these ISIS, these people who are terrorists, who claim to saying they are doing what Islam tells them, they could be imposters. It could be not the real Islam. So I don't know what is the real Islam, but what I know is that most of the bad things happening in the world today, they connect to Islam, or people who claim that they are Islam. That's what I'm saying. So I hope and wish that people can stop really terrorizing one another and just believe in what they believe in peacefully. Let people live. We have one life. Let's not bother each other. We all have one life. We don't have like that. I died today, it's finished with me. So let me live this life that I have peacefully. You live yours. You also have one life. If you get killed tomorrow, you are gone. No one is going to live your life for you. People live their own lives. Let people live their own lives. We have this one life. Let us enjoy it the way we want to enjoy it. As long as I don't bother you, I don't do nothing to you, I don't come to your house, I don't steal from you, I don't jeopardize anything in your life, then let me and let other people live their lives. That's it. So, bye bye, people, and respect other people's religions.